All right, and you guys can still see my screen? Okay, cool. So we'll go ahead and get started. My name is Melanie. I teach at Barrett's Elementary. I teach 4th grade. So I'm gonna walk you guys through just a bunch of different ways that I use Google Slides for pretty much everything. I would like to preface it and say that it is kind of challenging to do a tech class because I feel like everybody's all over the place. Some of us have tons of experience, some of us have no experience. So if I'm saying something that you're like, I already knew all of this and you want to jump off, I will not be offended at all. And if I'm going too fast, please slow me down. Just pop something up in the comments and we can talk more about something. But my goal today is to walk you through all of the ways that I'm using Google Slides right now. So here's the agenda that I want to go through. This is kind of some of the things I plan to cover today. So I'm going to start by talking about why I prefer Google Slides over everything. Almost everything I do in the classroom, other than just like having my kids type up a report, is in Google Slides. How we're using it for a weekly planner, how you can differentiate your activities, how you can crop videos in Google Slides that you get from YouTube. I'm going to show you how you can link slides within your slides and sites. I'm going to show you how we use them for student journals, how you can use what I call the white space of Google Slides. I'm going to teach you how you can hide part of your slide like we can do on our Smartboard on Smart Notebook, how you have that little gray slider. There's a way we can kind of mimic that in Google Slides. I'll talk about presentation mode, and then finally I'll go through digital worksheets with you. If you have anything else that I'm not covering that you're curious about, ask in the comments and we can always try to talk about that. So I have a ton of tabs open. I'm just going to kind of pop back and forth through everything. So we'll go ahead and get started. The first thing that my team is doing is we're using Google Slides for our plans for the kids. So you'll see that we kind of are using this not only for the kids, but also for our plan book. The reason I really like Google Slides is because we can have these links in here that are hyperlinks. So, you know, when they want to click the announcements that our principals sent over, they can click this and it's all, everything is right in here. The other piece that I really like about this is each week is saved over here. So what we'll do is we'll just make a copy of the slide by we'll just go ahead and make a copy and we'll say duplicate slide, and then you can just blank everything out and go from and then start over. Sorry, somebody's trying to join the meeting and it's asking me to deny them, and I don't know how I don't know. I want to admit them. Okay, here we go. We'll let them in. Okay. So I just like this because then if you have a parent that's like, oh, we got a week behind, or, you know, we weren't able to log on Thursday, April, whatever, you can just kind of point them back in the direction of this and they can see everything. I've been putting videos in for my kids some days. What I also like about this is if it's a slide that kids don't need to edit. So for example, I'm going to show you math in a minute, but our math slides, they're not editing them. They're not manipulating them at all. So it's just a view only mode that they need since they're not really turning anything in. So we're linking that right here. And the reason we're doing that, and it's also in Google Classroom, but what's nice is that, you know, for that parent that's like, there's just too much for me to navigate, I can't find it, then I can just send them, I can just share this slide with them, and here's everything they need housed in one area, and they can just work off of this. And I just feel like it's a little less overwhelming for parents than to say, okay, go to Google Classroom, here's math, here's reading. There are a few things that the kids do need to make edits of, so we did have to post those in Google Classroom. But just to start off, this is how we're organizing our schedule for our students. And a lot of it builds throughout the week. So it's not all inputted on, you know, Sunday night. We're adding to it each week, and then it's automatically updating in Google Classroom, which is nice. So the next thing I want to talk about is kind of how we're doing our math workshop. And we're going to talk about a few things that you can do in Google Slides here. One of the things that I really like, so we share this with the kids, they have a view version of it. So they can click links, but they cannot manipulate any of the slides. You just add a table. Yep, Tracy just asked. So to make a table, you just insert and you just do, you know, you can make your table any size you want. Here, I have this 1x4. And then that's how I made that look like a plan book on that last one. So for math, they have one set of slides for the entire week. That's how we're organizing it right now. What I really like, and this is kind of silly, but the kids, for whatever reason, it's just more engaging for them. If you link, so instead of having them have to scroll through over here to find the Monday lessons, what you can do is you can say Monday. And then what you can do is when you highlight it and you right click, you can say link. And you're gonna have the option, I'm gonna unlink it. You're gonna have the option to link this to an outside website, or right here, slides in the presentation. And I wanna link Monday to slide 2. So when my kids click on Monday, it's gonna bring them to Monday's lesson. And then same thing when they open up the slide on Thursday, rather than them having to scroll through all of this stuff, they can just say, oh, I need to go to Thursday, and it's right here. Something about just that little interaction of having them, giving them the ability to click and have them pop around in the slides is just way more exciting for them. I've even seen people do like Jeopardy games where if you wanted to go back to the home screen, you could have a little link here that says like, take me home, and you could link it to slide 1 and it would bring you back here. That wasn't needed for my lesson, but you could do that. So one of the things I really like is having these clickable, you know, I wanna go to Monday, okay. I feel like it makes it feel a little more interactive for the kids rather than these are just a bunch of slides, please flip through them and read. So then the next thing is you can input videos right from YouTube, or you can copy the link. So in order to do that, you're just gonna come up here to insert and you're gonna say video. You can even upload things from your own Google Drive, but for me, I wanted Khan Academy and I wanted parallel lines. So I don't have to open a new tab. I can just do my YouTube search right here and I can pick that video that I want. As soon as I click it, it's gonna show up right here on my screen. So that's just a nice little time saver. You don't have to search back and forth. However, if you do, let's say your teammate made a document and she links the YouTube video that you want. What else is really cool is you can just copy paste that URL right here, and then that'll pull up that video for you as well. Now, Khan Academy is pretty good because their videos cut right to the chase. But I did find some videos last week and they were a little obnoxious where the whole beginning of the video is like and subscribe and join us and send us this letter and do all of these things. And it was just obnoxious and it's not what the kids need. The kids need to get to the content. So one of the really cool things you can do in Google Slides is once you insert a video, if you come over here and you want to go down, you right click that video and you're going to go to format options. You'll get this little box here on the side. One of the awesome things you can do is under video playback. So let's say I want this video to start at minute 1:15 and I want it over and I'm done. It goes to in depth for my kids. So I want them done at 1:30. I guess they're gonna watch 15 seconds of this video, but whatever, you get the point. So then what's cool is I've edited this. So now when my kids click it, they're gonna start automatically at 1:15 and it's gonna stop the video at 1:30. This little window here is nice because you can play and kind of see what you just cropped of that video. And you can kind of make adjustments. Like sometimes I'll be like, oh, I don't want 1:15, I want 1:14 and when I'm watching it back. So you can use this right here to watch it back and make sure you've chosen the right time. But you can edit the times. And if you don't like that, you just reset them and it'll play your whole video for you. So that's really cool. I like that a lot because I do feel like sometimes these videos go a little bit more in depth than we're trying to go, or you're trying to get rid of all that junk at the beginning of the video that's just going to distract your kids. So that's really cool. The other option is if you were in presenting mode, you could have it autoplay. So as soon as this slide turned on, you could click this and the video would begin playing. Because most of my kids don't watch these in present mode, I don't click that because they're gonna just go through these, and I don't want them in present mode because then if they click on these links, it sometimes just moves the page forward. It doesn't take them there. So the next thing that you can do to just add a little bit more excitement, interactivity to your slides is after they watch the video, I ask them, do you feel ready to work or do you feel like you want another look? So if they want another look here, that's where I did that click and I added the link, and this is actually going to take them outside to a YouTube video. I figure most of my kids probably won't choose to watch this video, so I did not embed the video on the slide because I don't want the slide to get cluttered and confusing. So this is why this will open a new tab for them and take them to that video. But if they're ready to learn, again, they're gonna click this and it's gonna go to slide 3, which is just the next page. It's not very exciting. They could just click that forward arrow, but for whatever reason, being able to click and interact with it is just way more fun for them. So I gave them that option. And again, to do that, you would just highlight whatever word you would want clickable, you would right click, and you could link. So that would be how you would do that. And you can always link to the outside by pasting here, or you can pick a slide in your presentation. Something I did want to mention is if you're going to link slides to your presentation, I would be sure that you're done setting up your presentation before you start linking slides, because one time I had, slide 1 through 10 already set up, and I linked something to slide 8. But then later on, I inputted a bunch of slides between like 1 and 2, so that 8 slide actually ended up getting bumped back. And then it shifted where I had linked things. So it's important that you kind of want to think about, where do I want to link things within the slides, and then wait till you've kind of got all of your content in, and then you can do the linking. Unless you know you're going to go in order, then it shouldn't make a difference. So this is kind of just a walk through our math workshop in 4th grade. So they go through some activities. So they're gonna get some practice. This is just snipped right from Pearson. I just opened up the textbook. Somebody in the class last week asked, are you assigning things in Pearson? And I agree that Pearson is wonderful and all of the things we can assign are wonderful, but right now it was just one more thing for our families to go to Clever and get into Pearson. And, I didn't need them doing the whole page, so I just snipped what I could just to, again, eliminate any confusion for whoever needed it. I even copied in the answer keys so that they could check their work as they were going. And then here's where they get a little bit more choice. So they have these must-do, may-do activities, and this is where the differentiation comes in. So if kids are feeling confused, what I did was I just downloaded from Pearson the Reteach work page. So it's a PDF. I downloaded that to my computer and I dropped it in Google Drive. Once it was dropped in Google Drive, you just get that shareable link. And then when I linked this, they'll click it, and then that worksheet will pop up. We're talking with our kids about, you do not have to print this. You can just write your answers on a piece of paper. That's no big deal. Some families are printing it if they're able. That's great. So they can click that opportunity, and then they can also check their answers again with the Reteach. But if kids who want more challenge, or you have that parent that's like, I want more than 30 minutes of math every day, I want, an hour, they can click this enrichment, and then they have the answer key as well. So those are their may-do activities. And then finally, their must-do is the exit ticket. When you click it, it's going to take them to a Google form. This took a little bit extra time, but we just, again, found it was easier to move those Pearson exit tickets to Google Forms because you don't have to be signed in. Anybody can take them. It was just one less click, one less login for our kids and our families. And then that information just went to a spreadsheet. The other thing is we are telling our kids, if you don't score a 4 out of 5, you might consider more practice. So then they have these opportunities here for them as well. So that's how we're structuring math workshop using Google Slides. Each day is about like 7 to 8 slides with some instruction, some examples, some videos, and then their exit ticket is linked at the end. Does anybody have any questions about anything so far before I jump on to the next thing? Okay, cool. So the next thing I want to show you, again, it's some skills that I've already shown you, but we're doing our read aloud, and rather than, again, posting a bunch of links, we are organizing them in Google Slides. Somebody said, yes, I can share these slides with you guys. Are you wanting the slides that I'm demonstrating right now with? Okay, so what I'll do is in this, my presentation slide right here, I'll link some of the resources that I'm showing you guys so you can have copies of them. So I will share this set of slides on Amy's big document, and then I'll have everything else linked on to this set of slides. Okay, so back to Percy Jackson. So we're reading this as part of our mythology unit. So I always like to have a table of contents for the kids, especially with a 22 chapter book. It would be a lot for the kids to come over here every day and be like, okay, I need to listen to chapter 12. They're scrolling through all of this. So instead, what we did was you just click here on chapter 12, and that's going to take them right to slide 14. When they get there, we have used the top portion to put in a teaching point, and then we found this lovely teacher, I don't know even where she's from, but on YouTube had every single chapter already recorded for us. So my teammate actually found her YouTube channel, sent me her YouTube channel, and then all I had to do was copy and paste those web addresses into the URL when I went to insert, and then I could go to video, I could copy each one right here under URL, and then we inputted each chapter of the book. So the kids really aren't doing too much with this other than reading the teaching point and listening to the chapter. So again, this we can just share out. It's a view only. They don't have to edit it. So it doesn't really matter how we share it out. But it's just been really nice to have reading organized this way. I've heard from some parents that said like, oh, we missed chapter 4. And it was really nice to just be able to click, go to chapter 4 and catch back up. So just organizing our read aloud this way has helped a lot. I feel like too, I get nervous that if I had pushed out this teacher's YouTube channel, you know, you get ads and you get the next chapter just auto starts. And next thing I know, I'd have half of my class probably done with the book because it's so fun. But then they're going to be coming to me like, okay, now what? What do I do now? Because I finished the whole book. So I feel like this way it breaks it up a little bit more and just keeps it organized for them. So then, speaking of Percy Jackson, what they do to respond to that is a journal. Now, this is something that we did have to push out in Google Classroom as make a copy for every kid because they are going to edit right on this journal. So my teammate actually created this, but each chapter she uses, she goes back to that teaching point and gives them that prompt. And then we've also included just kind of like some tidbits on like how to do this work. Remember, here's some tips from Lucy. And then what our kids are doing is they can either just type the response right in here, or we have some kids who prefer to journal on pen and paper, and they're doing that. And then they're inserting an image, which most of your kids probably even know how to do this because they all know how to use the camera. But you just come here to insert image, and then they'll just use the camera on their device, and they'll upload that picture of their work. I really like this because I can comment. So if I just click, you know, this is mine, so it's not going to be as exciting, but I can click right here and I can comment on a kid's work. You know, I really liked how you gave one example from the text. Next time, can you please think about 2 to 3 examples? And I know you can comment in Google Docs as well. Again, I like the organization of Google Classroom. Here, they can just go page by page and it's organized. It's not this huge document that keeps getting longer and longer and they have to find where they left off. We could have definitely added that table of contents to this. That probably would have helped our kids too, thinking about this now that I'm talking it through. But the other thing that I don't think I mentioned that I just really love about this is everything is 100% movable. If you've ever tried to like put a picture in Google Drive and or Google Docs, and then your words get all weird and you have to try to format the picture and you want it to break the text, not in front of the text or behind the text. And if you try to put it you try to put the picture inside of a cell, and next thing you know, everything is just jacked up. I just really like that here. You can move your pictures around. You can, I mean, if I want this to stop here and I want it to go here so I can put my picture, everything just moves around really nicely for formatting purposes. So, okay, I need to move that. And so this way, I just think when you're trying to create something from scratch, it works a lot better to be able to move things around more fluidly without kind of screwing up all of your text when you're trying to insert pictures. Another little feature that I think I found a few years ago accidentally, I'm trying to find a picture that would work for this. There's really not. Okay, let's say this one. Let's say this picture down here is probably, this is a whole image, but let's say this little map of Denmark in 1943 is probably going to confuse my kids. If I double click this picture, I get these little black lines around it, which is my crop option. So I could just crop that off right there, and now it's gone. And so all I did to do that was I double clicked, and if I want to bring it back, I just double click again. You can see right here what's faded is what I've cropped away, but I can open that back up. A lot of times I'll find, little pictures or snippets, and it's like way more than I want to show my kids. So just that little crop option is pretty cool. All right, so that is how we are using this for journaling. Again, every kid's getting their very own copy, so you have to push it out in a way that they can edit it. Let's see, let me look back at my agenda and make sure we've talked about journals. Okay, now I want to talk to you about using this white space in Google Slides, which is, it actually makes your workspace that much more great. So what I did was, my kids, they were really wanting a place to talk and chat. So I made these digital class meeting slides for them. You can see this very first slide is, here's how to do it. And it's a video of me like talking to them so they know exactly how to do it. Let's see. So let's come here. I'm going to show you Caroline's really quickly. Let's see. Open that back up. Okay. So you can see on Caroline's slide, let me zoom out. Okay, so all of this space around the slide, I guess we're on Chris's now. All of this space around the slide is usable. We can put items there and they will show up for our kids. So let's look, like if you look at Chris's, he hasn't filled his out. But today I'm feeling, and they can just drag and drop these little emotions and they'll fall right here. And then when they're done, they can just drag them right back up here when they're not using them. So just because you have that white square of your slide, that's not the only space you can work with. You can work with all of this space around it. We're actually going to be starting a math activity next week where they like plan a vacation, which we always do at the end of the year. And I feel like it's cruel right now because no one can go on vacation. But so I'm trying to make it digital. And one of the things that they do is they're working on their budget. And then I always give them like a paper menu. And I'm like, I don't want them having to click through a million tabs to do this math and look at the menu. So what I've done is I've just put the menu items up top that they'll choose from so they can still edit and work on their slide, but then they'll have all this extra space that they can view and see and even drag and drop. Last week I was talking with the group and we were talking about like how cool this would be for word study. You could have all of your words over here and just dragging and dropping them into the appropriate places. So that's one way that I really like to use this white space. Something else that a teacher brought up last week that I want to show you that I think is a cool little trick, because all of this I added into Google Slides, and we do stuff like this during the school year. So I've trained my kids pretty well on like, if I put it in there, don't touch it because your teacher's crazy and she likes the way things look and please don't move them. But somebody asked like, how can we put all of that in there and not have our kids be able to edit it? Because I'm so scared if I do that, they're going to delete things or they're going to, move it and it's going to disappear. So I'm going to show you a really cool trick to do that. So what you can do is you can come up here to File, and we're going to say Download, and we're going to say we want a JPEG, and it's going to say we want the current slide. So let's say I set up this slide as my template and it didn't have Chris's name on it. When I save that, so it saves to my desktop, I'm going to insert a new slide. So what it did was I designed a whole slide. I saved the slide as a picture. So now I'm going to bring, oh, no, I don't want to do that. So now I'm going to come up here to background, and I'm going to say I want to choose my image. And now I'm going to drag it in. And when I drag that image in, it's suddenly the background, and they can't do anything to it. So I wouldn't probably do this with Chris's name. I would say check in with your friend or something more simple so I'd only have to do it one time and I wouldn't have to make 20 of them. But that way you can put things on a slide, especially if you wanted to have them drag and drop. And then when they're dragging and dropping, they're not going to mess with what you've put in and designed for them. It's a background image now, so there's no way they can edit it. So that's a cool little trick there too. I think that was all I wanted to share on that. Let's see. Pretty sure. Let's just double check. Okay, so now let's talk about hiding parts of a slide. I'm just going to open up this and just kind of use it to play with and show you guys some things now. So let's say, another thing I want to show you before we move on. Another thing that's cool about this is if you come down here to page setup, you can change the size of your slide. This is the default. Let's say I wanted it to just be like a piece of paper. So I'm just going to go 8.5 by 11. And now I have the size of like a Google Doc for my kids. And you might have to teach them to zoom in if it's hard to read something small. So again, what I have saved is a worksheet. And let's say I want my kids to work on this worksheet, but I'm worried that it's going to overwhelm them. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to insert, as the background, I'm going to insert the worksheet that I downloaded it off of Pearson. So let me drop that in really quick. It's not supported. That's not good. Let's try it a different way then. Oh, I think I know why. Hang on. Nope. Okay. Let's try this. Sorry, guys. I thought I had it saved, but it's saved as a PDF. I want it as a picture. Let me just do a snip really quick. Okay. Okay. So now, sorry, I got barking dogs. There's construction going on across the street from us. They're building a house, and my 2 8-pound dogs do not enjoy it. They think they own the neighborhood. Okay, so now I'm going to insert that as my background. So I'm dropping that in. Okay, so now I have this worksheet as the background. They can't edit it. They can't do anything with it. But I'm thinking that the kids are probably going to get overwhelmed by all 5 of these problems at once. So let's say I want to break it down and have them do just see problem 1 and 2. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to insert this square, just like you would do that screen, just like that. I'll insert it. And now they can only see problem 1 and 2, right? And sometimes what I even do is if you double click this, you'll get a text. And I'll kind of bring it to the center. I'll even make it big. And I'll say like click to reveal numbers 3 through 5. So they know there's more coming and they don't think it's terrible when they click and oh my gosh, now there's more math. So now they have this box and it's covering it, but what we need to do is we need to animate it. So I always right click, you come here to animate. And you'll just say, I want this to fly out. You can do whatever you want. There's a bunch. On click. So when the kid clicks it, it'll disappear. So that's what we'll do. Now, the thing is, though, is it's not going to work in this edit mode. It's not even going to work in view only mode. You need to get to that presentation mode for it to actually happen. So when we're in presentation mode and we click, it's actually going to happen. Now, the trick is trying to get your kids to remember to turn on presentation mode, but there's actually a way that you can have them only view presentation mode. So what you're gonna do, they won't even see this editable version at all. So what you'll do is you'll go to File, and you're gonna click right here, Publish to the Web. When you do that, you're gonna want the link, and I don't really mess with these settings unless you want it to move on its own, which I don't. I don't want the slideshow to start until my kids start clicking it. And I'm just gonna click publish. It's gonna say, are you sure? Yes, I'm sure. And then it's gonna give me this link right here. So now what I could do is I could copy that link. I could put it in my Google Classroom. I could put it on this weekly planner that I use. I can copy that link anywhere, but I'm gonna show you what happens when you use that link now that it provided for me. So here's that link, and I only have this view version. I don't have any of that stuff that you can use for editing. So now when I click it, I really do get to see 3 and 5 through 5. So they only have the option to see this presentation mode. What else is really cool is once you share out this presentation mode link, this published link, you can make any edits to this. So let's say, okay, no, you know what, they could handle number 3. So I was thinking about this last night. I actually want them to see 1 through 3, and now they're gonna click to see 4 through 5. So now when we refresh this or when the kid opens it up again, my edits are already there. So that's really cool. My team actually through the school year, I can show you really quickly. Wasn't on the plan. This is bonus content, so you're welcome. We use that to do our weekly newsletter. So we use a Google Slide, and we share that published link. It's just linked in our family email. And we update, this is like our curriculum update for the week that we've made, and we've just made it in Google Slides. So you'll see every day, or every week, I'm sorry, we add a new slide and update the information. but then we share out that published link. And then the parents, this just automatically updates. And so that published link is saved and we don't have to like resend out the share link. Every week it's just already done and saved when they view it. It's also cool because then they can go back and see old newsletters as well if they're, need to. Okay, somebody asked, if your students are choosing to print their math work and you send out the link in the published presentation mode, are they able to print from that page or do they have to do the work on paper? I don't know, because I haven't really encountered that. I'm encouraging most of mine to do theirs on paper, but we can see, I don't even know if we're gonna get an option to print here. Let's see. If I just did Control P on my computer, it's giving me the option to print it. It looks kind of funky, but it looks like they could if they wanted to. So, I mean, they'll get it. It prints a little funky than if you would give them the other option. Now I want to show you, let's say you didn't want to block this. So let's say you don't really care if they see all of them. The other really cool thing is you could use this to make a digital worksheet. So going back to, I'm going to just give them this view. I'm not going to give them the presentation view. I'm going to let them have like the back end view. So what I'm going to do here is I can just insert text boxes. Well, it says, okay, here's what I'm really gonna do. It says draw, give the 3 different names for this line. So what I'll do is I'll put a text box right here. I usually change the font to red so it really shows up for them. They also like to have something other than the basic font, so we'll make it fun. Okay, and we'll say type your answer here. So what you can do again is get that picture of whatever work page you wanna send out. And then you can just take this, and I'm just gonna do Control D and make duplicates. And I'm gonna put this text box everywhere where an answer would go. And now you have a digital worksheet that they don't have to even worry about printing. And they could turn this in if you assigned it in Google Classroom or on Schoology because they're typing on it, they're gonna edit it, and then they could turn it into you if that's what you wanted to collect from them. So that's one way you can take a paper worksheet, set it as the background because then they're not gonna have to change anything. You don't have to retype anything. You're just taking a picture of what we already have and using it as your background. And then you're just putting those text boxes where you want the kids to answer. All right, let me make sure. I think I covered all of the big things that I wanted to share with you guys. Were there any other questions that you had about Google Slides that I could answer? Or things that you want to know more about? I will link all of the slides that my class is currently using that I shared with you today. I'll link, you'll get like view only options, but you can always make a copy if you need it. I'll put that on my slides that I'm using for the agenda, and then I'll link that in Amy's big document with the schedule. And then if you have any other questions, definitely email me or you can follow me. I post a lot of what, good question. I post a lot of what I do, at least I used to do in the classroom when we were at school on my Instagram, which is a trendy teacher. So you can follow me there if you want to see other stuff. If you're interested, don't have to, just a little thing. Okay, so if you want to make a copy of a slide, you'll just come here to File and you'll say make a copy. In slides, you could say I only want a copy of slide 1 through 2. So if I did that, I would say I want this one. I'd hold down Shift, so I'd get 2. And I'm coming here to File, and then I want just the selected slides. Or if I want a copy of everything, then you can do an entire presentation. I'm not answering your question. You're asking how do you force someone to make a copy? So when you come to share, you want to make sure that you're on view only, because now they're only going to have that view version, and then they're going to have to make a copy if they want to edit it. I always like to put a little note like, this is a view-only version, please make a copy. Otherwise, you're gonna have a million people emailing you requesting access when you don't wanna give them access because it's your original. So I just like to put that little reminder of like, please make a copy, this is view-only. Click File, then make a copy. Any other questions? Well, thank you guys for coming. If you think of anything else that you need or you're curious about, just let me know or just Google it because everything is, I feel like, on Google. That's where I learn everything. Yes, I am at a trendy teacher on Instagram. That's mine. And another one that I was telling the last week's group about, if you want to follow, she's like the queen of everything Google, is, I'll type it in the comments. It's at, oh, I think I'm gonna do it right. _techie_teacher_. I just put it in the chat. She has amazing tutorials on just everything Google Suites, Google, Google Slides, Classroom, everything. She has a lot of cool stuff that she posts about, so check her out too. Thank you guys for coming. Thanks for your questions. That's super helpful. It makes me feel like I'm not just talking to myself the whole time. I hope you guys have a good rest of your day. I'll talk to you later.
Hey, Melanie, I have a quick question for you that I thought would be easier just to ask you. Did you create all of the templates, like for the backgrounds and things, like on your daily check-in one where it was like, oh, like just with all the fun boxes and the text, like, is that something you created, or was that like a downloaded?
No, I made it, and it's super easy. I feel like the more you do it, the easier it starts to feel. I mean, all this is just a black box. Like I really just drew a black square, and then I just feel like, you change up the fonts and it makes it look a little more fun, but it's really nothing fancy. This is a little trick that I think is fun. Let me show you really quick. I have to delete it because I need some more room. But you know how you get those cute little ribbons where they're like with the little tails? You just make a little box, and then I learned this, I had to Google it, and I felt kind of silly. But then you make a triangle, and you turn it. Am I still presenting my screen, by the way?
Yeah.
I guess I could have asked that.
Yeah.
That's not gonna do
that's cute. Yeah.
Right? And so then you just make this white, and you give it no border, and now you have one of those cute little ribbons.
Oh my gosh.
You line it up the right way. But I was like, how are these people making all these cute little shapes? And I could never figure it out. So I mean, it's pretty much just like layering boxes and triangles and circles. And like here, this is 2 squares, and I just tilted one a little bit to make it look a little more fun.
Yeah. Okay.
Like I said, there's just a lot of people on Instagram that I feel like do such cute stuff, and you're like, oh, that's so fun. And then I spend forever trying to recreate it, and then it ends up being like a square. And I'm like, oh,
right.
Cool.
Right.
I used to Google like fun borders and fun whatever. And I feel like I was doing Google Images forever trying to do that. And it drove me nuts. So I don't know. I just squares and lines and fonts and
Okay. And then did you can you download certain fonts?
Okay. Somebody asked me that.
Because I know you can do it on like Word, but I know I hardly use Word anymore.
I never do.
But yeah, I just always see people like I feel like the fonts I have are all the basic ones.
Okay. Do you know how to add fonts to your Google repertoire just from the Google?
I think so. Can't you just Google them?
Well, if you come up here, so I'm on a Word right now, and I come here to, yes, Megan, I will link this as well. Let's see. Okay, if I just click more fonts, this box is going to come up, and it's going to be every font that's in Google's thing. Okay. Now over here, these are the fonts that I have personally selected that I use. You can sort by popularity, you can sort by whatever, but I mean, this is everything. And you can pick and choose, or if you have this ugly font that you don't like, just click and get away from it, and you don't have to have it. If you go to that Instagram account I told you, the Techie Teacher, she has, it's like a fun little document she made, and it's like what Google fonts pair well together. So this is a really fun heading, and then it goes cute with this font for your body. And I just feel like somebody asked last week, they're like, I feel really silly for asking about fonts. And I'm like, no, I'm the exact same way. I'm like such a font snob, and when things are not pretty, I start sweating.
Right. Right.
And it's like we have so much time on our hands. Why not explore all this stuff now?
Right.
I have not learned how to upload fonts to Google Classroom or Google, but I feel like I ran across somebody's Instagram where they said there was a way, and it was a little too overwhelming for me, so I didn't look into it. But I've kind of learned to find a few that I like that look look good together.
And then, so you clicked on the font selection and clicked more fonts?
Yep.
And that's, I got it. Okay, perfect.
And then you can kind of make your own little list that's going to show up every time you work.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much.
Yeah, no problem. I'll see you guys later.
All right, bye.